Hi, this is Taylor Martin, co-writer of episode 709, Orion Relocation Services. You're listening to the Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
Ooh, is Raymond Reddington. Welcome back to the award-winning The Blacklist Exposed podcast. I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs.
Was that your owl? Is that what that was?
Sure.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson, fellas, gals, and non-binary pals. Thanks for joining us once again as we discuss number 159 on the Blacklist, Orion Relocation Services. I'm so glad it's not that word from last week. It was written by Sean Hennon, or 2 weeks ago. It was written by Sean Hennon and Taylor Martin and directed by Stephanie Marquardt. Show notes and our intel for this episode of The Blacklist Exposed can be found at theblacklistexposed.com.
It could be the owl Waladar.
Well played. Well played.
It's going to be a lot of those tonight.
Dad jokes?
Like, for example, did you know that owls and Aaron actually have something in common?
Like Aaron from the Bible?
No, like you, Aaron, and owls actually have something in common.
Okay.
They like books on whodunits. Whodunits.
Oh my God. Speaking of, Knives Out. Best
Go
movie of the
see
year.
it.
Best movie of the year,
movie.
in my opinion.
It was awesome. So good.
Woo-hoo!
So good. All night long. On this episode, we'll cover off on our profiling question from last week, and then we'll dig deep into this week's case profile, get a little bit of Red's rhetoric, and some special agent intel at the end, where I'm sure there'll be some knives out between Aaron and myself.
Bazinga.
So let's go ahead and get right into it with our opening question tonight. I yield the floor to you.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago we asked, how does one extract memories? Deborah, apparently the answer is you hire someone with a heavy accent and they just
smoke pipes
hang
the
out
whole
with
time.
you. Yeah. Just get you a little lucid, start talking, a little sweet talk, you know?
He smokes grass in his pipe, he blows it in your face, and you fall asleep.
It's basically like an LSD trip. That's what it was. All right, Deborah Beck says there's been some research using electroshock therapy, optogenetics, as well as other techniques. There's a pretty good article on it. Is there going to be a link in the show notes?
There'll definitely be a link in the show notes. Why not? How are they going to see it otherwise?
I don't know, but apparently Deborah gave us a pretty good article on it. So if you want to know how electroshock therapy gives you some memories, then boom.
Boom. It'll be up there at theblacklistexposed.com. Brian Dalton said, play Picture by Kid Rock over and over until they are forced to remember and divulge whatever they need to be divulged. I would tell you that for me, that would take like 1.7 seconds for me to start talking.
I think that's more torture than extracting memories, isn't it?
Maybe.
No, my favorite Kid Rock memory. Bow to bang a bang diggy dick. Yeah. I love that song. I used to be able to do that whole thing. All right, William Jenks with a memory extractor. It looks halfway between a dream catcher and an egg white separator. Okay. Or is that the little Men in Black thingy? I don't know.
I don't know. But I need an egg white separator for Christmas. Sharon Crady said, use an ultrasonic vacuum.
I like that. Two left, Linda Dorland. Easy with the Bella 13694 juice extractor available on Amazon.
Speaking of Amazon, goldenspiralmedia.com/Amazon to pick up all of your holiday shopping, including that Bella 13694 juice extractor, if you're so interested.
You're so weird. All right, well, next week's profiling question, should Liz hear Katarina out? You know, she's got a gun to her, got a silencer, and I'm sure we'll know as soon as the episode starts. But I'm curious what you guys think. Like, does Katarina Rostova deserve to be heard out?
I think the profiling question should be, do silencers actually even work?
Well, the answer is yes, because if not, there would be a whole bunch of people busted for major crimes.
But TV, you still hear that.
That's just the cool noise. You like that, right? I mean, people like that. That's what, yeah. You got to have something. Otherwise, people would just be like, did somebody get shot?
But you shoot the person, and then the next thing you hear is thud. As the body
have you
hits
ever
the floor.
heard an actual gun with a silencer? You do hear a noise.
I know. I'm just saying. That's why do silencers actually work, because you shoot them and the bullet is quiet, but the next thing you hear is this loud clang as the body hits the floor. So Agnes is still going to wake up. Mommy, why'd you shoot that lady?
That's why I'm all about the smothering.
Well, thanks to all that answered the profiling question this week. Now, so you don't have to get the intel from Dr. Quackenstein, let's go ahead and get into this week's case profile.
Case profile number 159, Orion Relocation Services. I get really upset every time I see that because I think it's Orion Pictures, and it takes me back.
I just think it's funny how many times they've said Orion Relocation Services in last week's episode and this week's episode.
Yeah, quite a bit, man. Quite a bit.
I'm tired myself of saying Orion Relocation Services.
So is it Orion Relocation Services? Is that what we're talking about?
I think so.
The Orion Relocation Services is a service Katarina used to hide. They help the worst of the worst. They kill innocent people and then give their identities to their clients. Sophia Burke is the next client. Her partner got popped. Say that 3 times real fast. Going after the Dresden file. Diamond or whatever. Red uses Burke to get the gist on Orion Relocation Services. They use that info to stop the target, save her, and take all those files of clients. And now Liz knows who has her daughter, and that would be Madeline. That's the crux. That's the blacklister. I got to ask you before we get into the rest of the episode. Do you think it classified it as a blacklister?
It is the thing that led to the thing to get to the next thing. So in the way that the show's been going as of lately, yeah, I think so. It's a creepy bad guy that's doing strange things that you wouldn't see in the norm of regular modern day criminal activities. So it's off the beaten path enough that, yeah, I think this qualifies.
I would say bad gal. Do you feel like this one was a little blacklister-like? Because it really felt like just the Ilya and Katarina show.
Oh, I think you had to do the Ilya Katarina show in order to set up next week's episode. But in order to find Ilya and Katarina, you have to have that thing that drives the story forward. So in that regard, yeah, it might have been not as like stew maker-ish, kind of blacklister, but it's still a blacklister in the sense that they did some creepy things in order to escalate the situation for the clients. So the fact that they're working for somebody and it is tied to the Katarina plotline, therefore that does make it on the list, albeit towards the bottom.
Okay. I was just kind of curious if you felt like that qualified. As far as like the basic story, that was it for that. Really, we've got a lot of character moments, and we're going to especially focus on Ilya and Katarina and what those memories brought to you, because we've got a lot of mythology there. But aside from that, except for the dinner, which was great, I really dug that because I want to do something like that. Don't you want to do something like that where you turn the lights off and you don't know what you're going to eat and just give it a shot?
I'd like to do it for the experience because I'm a sensory guy. So I think that would be cool from a sensory perspective. But then I would have the other sensory side of my problem going like, what am I putting in my mouth and why is that your finger?
Yeah, it's a fun game. It's like there's an old Dane Cook. Do you remember that comedian?
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to have a great joke where he'd say, all right, we're going to turn out the lights and play Who's in My Mouth? And that's kind of what I thought the whole time. I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like somebody's going to take this game the wrong way.
What about the cinematography of that scene? Did you like the switching between the night vision goggles and then you can't see anybody talking because it's all black?
I actually did like that. They held it longer than I thought they would, honestly.
I thought they'd be in the night vision mode a lot longer. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I kind of liked it in the dark. It was kind of fun.
I figured Red would have already known, so he'd have a pair of night vision goggles on his lapel, his coat pocket or something.
Yeah, I think we got to get somebody from the set to tell us how that went that night, like filming that scene in the dark. That's different.
They don't actually turn all the lights off, right? They might have.
There's some light in the background, but maybe they did something with the camera lens that they could turn the contrast down or something. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they're not just leaving all these actors stranded in the dark. Nobody move! Nobody move!
Sit real still and just imagine you're tapping your fork on the plate a couple times.
Yeah, that is funny, though. I would like to know how they do that. But aside from that, Orion Relocation Services, kind of, okay, we got it.
Yeah.
It really felt like a big build-up last week to this week, but really this week was all about getting those memories and Liz finding out, who's living next door.
Which I thought was a great reveal and a great way to do it.
It absolutely was. I keep wondering, all this time, so Ilya's across the hall?
I guess.
And Red finally comes to show up and
And Liz still doesn't know that Red isn't Ilya.
Well, yeah, because he just says, my friend, and this lady in Paris.
But I 100% had an inkling that you were maybe my mom.
We'll get there. Let's go to characters.
I feel like she pulled a Troy when she said that line.
Yeah.
Let's go to, you knew that it was pregnancy.
Yeah. Let's go to characters.
Music. first, right?
Yeah, music is first. Yep.
Why not? So as the show opens, we get our one and only song this week. As Gregory and Madeline are dying to move to D.C., we hear Shady Grove by Jerry Garcia and David Grissom. You can listen to that, as well as all the other great songs from the Blacklist on our playlists over at theblacklistexposed.com. One for Apple Music, one for Spotify. Go ahead and get those links over there and enjoy the great tunes this holiday season.
Song budget's way down this year, huh?
They used a lot, I think, in the first 2 hours this season, so maybe they're saving it up for next week.
Oh, well, next week's going to be a big one.
Ooh, super big. We even know what number it is.
Do we know what number it is?
The press release went out, so yeah.
What's the number?
I'm not going to tell. We don't do spoilers on this show. If you want to know what the number is for next week, we'll do it after the close at the end during the outtakes. How's that?
But I want to know like right now.
Not going to tell you.
Well, you could tell me now and then just put it in the outtakes. Oh, are you showing? Hang on, are you showing me something? Really?
Yeah.
Really? Huh. Why are you flipping me off, Troy? I'm just kidding. That's not what he's doing. All right, so that's bad radio. Let's get moving. Okay, so we've got Dembe. Nothing happened. Talented artist, though.
Yes.
Very talented artist.
The minute that came across, I was like, Aaron's going to write that down for the podcast because that was pretty cool.
That was great. He's crocheting. He's drawing. He is a talented
He's a chef.
man.
Remember, he's a chef,
He's
too?
a chef. Yeah, he's a man of many talents. Yeah, he can shoot you on the spot.
I want him to knit me a sweater.
I think he can. If you can crochet, you could definitely knit.
Yeah.
Definitely done. Done. Okay, so Cooper, wrestler, Aram. None of them really get anything to do this week other than, regurgitate some information. Park, still doing the Red shouldn't be getting his way thing. You brought that up last week as a concern. I think it was last week. Are you more concerned now? Like you said the last week, you didn't want to have to do this dance again. This is the wrestler dance from first season. Do you feel like it's the same dance? It
was a little bit the same dance this week. It wasn't long enough on the screen, though, for me to care, to be quite honest.
Exactly.
I thought it was funnier when it was like, did you give him the information first or did you give it to us first? I gave it to him first. Oh, my bad. Rookie, noob.
Exactly. But would you agree, all those characters, that's really about it?
Yeah, there was not much for them, which is kind of great because you're talking about the dinner scene. It was nice to see that Liz and Red were actually on the screen together doing things that they would have done maybe earlier in the show back in 1, 2, and 3. Megan's in a nice dress. They're coming to a party.
That dress was gorgeous.
Honestly, I didn't even recognize it was Megan at first. I thought Red just brought some rando when the scene first opened, and then I took a second look and I was like, oh, that's Megan.
It was a beautiful dress and a nice nod to Star Wars, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, why you say that?
It's just white dress and just the way that it hung reminded me of just a little bit of Princess Leia. Slightest bit.
Maybe.
From the first movie.
We've had Star Wars references in the show before.
You never know. I don't know if it's intentional, but it kind of reminded me very much of a more elegant Princess Leia outfit. And she looked beautiful. It was a beautiful dress. I could actually talk about that dress for a couple of minutes if you want to.
I think that would be weird.
Yeah, just for you. All right. Red. We'll move on to Red. The man she's taken is like a brother to me. The woman in Paris. I mean, don't you feel like he would at some point get tired of just never using anybody's name?
I think it would be exhausting. Like, okay, what did I call him last week? My brother, my friend, my lover.
Here's what I always like to stress this because I often have these conversations with people who say that, well, the reason that they don't mention names or they don't mention so-and-so's name is because it could be a different person, which there's some truth to it. And also truth to, they do it every week with almost everybody. Nobody's really saying anybody's names except for Wrestler, Cooper, and Aram. And sometimes Liz.
Cooper's the only one that actually says names. Wrestler, Park, go here. Aram, Liz, go do this. Liz is just like, hey, buddy.
No, if you really pay attention, when the characters, the FBI are talking to each other, they'll call each other. Liz will call Wrestler. Wrestler will call her Liz. But when you're getting into the Red area, everybody is the person, the guy, the person, the woman. It's very rarely is it named. So like he called him Frank last week or the week before. He could have just said, my friend Frank. Done.
Liz met him at the camper.
Exactly. So it's already been established. So it's not a secret. It's just more of, well, we like to keep it a little mysterious. That's really what that is.
Yeah, but this week he literally could have said like they have Frank. And Liz would have been like, oh, shoot, I'm totally going to help you now.
I know, but that's kind of my point. My point being that that's just how they write it. A lot of times we read so much into it, but they've already established she knows who this guy is and she knows him by Frank. He could just say Frank, really, but he doesn't because that's how Red talks.
They also use a lot of pronouns. She, he, they. So that way it's still ambiguous because they never say specifically who it is.
That's literally been my point for like 5 minutes.
I know. I'm just saying. This week
like,
in particular,
like
the
recapping my same point.
This week in particular, the pronouns are important.
Okay. Well, Red looks excited to try the dinner in the dark, which we talked about. But then we learn they're going to be eating an endangered owl, and he stops the presses. I'm okay with that.
He's like, whoa. He just waving the gun around to like all these people. He's like, I'm going to kill everyone in here if you so much as lay a feather on this bird.
What'd you think about the endangered owl bit?
It was funny. I laughed. I liked it. Classic red all the way through.
That and the, what was the, do you want me to get a hold of Glenn? He's like, no, he's probably busy with Taco Tuesday or whatever it was. That was fun.
This is where we can mention all the fun people. We just say, oh, no, budget cuts. Sorry.
Exactly. We're zipping right along because we want to get to the meat. So Red, there's a couple of choice lines. He says here, he's talking to Liz, you should be looking forward instead of back. You deserve a better life. Mm-hmm. I hope he means that.
I hope so.
And Liz says, if we find the woman in Paris.
Will it end?
Will it end? If we find her, will it end? That is our best hope, is what he says. That is our best hope. Mm-hmm. And once again, Red won't tell Liz jack. Is that a problem for you? She even called him on the carpet once and says, tell me who the woman is. And she would not do it.
Who is that person? Oh, sorry. Fuzz is here in 5 minutes. Gotta go. I just love that shot. And she's just standing there all frustrated.
You as a fan, does that bother you? That he won't just address it?
Come on. At this point, after 7 seasons, it's like, let's see. Anytime they do this on the show, this week in particular, well, who was there? Kohler, me, Katarina, and my heart's racing too fast. It's like you could like walk right into it and be like, this is where they're not going to tell you anything right at this moment. Hold on, everybody.
Yeah.
Surprise face.
Who's the other person? Oh, we can't give you that one.
Nope.
Sorry. We're holding that one. He might die. He literally might have a heart attack if he tried to say it. Like, yeah. His name was Bob. Oh. Bob who? Son of a bitch.
Bob Hope.
And then someone would also say, I think he said Barbara. Okay. Now with that, let's go to the war room, which is Katarina, a.k.a. Maddie, a.k.a. Constance, and Ilya. Now, what I'm going to do here is I wrote a bunch of this stuff down, so we're just going to kind of go through it paragraph by paragraph, okay?
Okay.
Because this is basically what everybody's going to be talking about.
Absolutely.
I would assume. Okay. This is all the memory stuff that's leading into the next episode, which is Katarina Rostova.
And if you want to know what number she is, stay tuned all the way to the end.
Katarina Rostova. She's up there, though.
It's a myth.
It's not like 112.
A ghost.
Oh, boy. All right, so here's what we're talking about.
Will we even see her on the screen next week?
you let me do the paragraph, and then once I get that done, and we'll just keep going from there, okay?
This is Aaron's subtle way of don't interrupt me, jackass.
Just let me finish it. Then you have your thought. We'll go to the next one. Then we'll have a discussion. We'll move on from there. We'll see if there's anything to discuss for that section.
Sure.
All right, we start off. Let's go back to 1991. The day Katarina Rostova reached out to you to let you know she was still alive. The heavily accented man is here to drag out those memories, the ones Katarina needs, and we get a few more details. We also we go back and we get nothing really new from Katarina's point of view. I guess we do. Never mind.
Well, I think this is really important in this whole situation as you watch this unfold. It's a matter of, okay, let's go back to Rosviet. What were we told in Rosviet? Who was telling us and who was speaking when we were seeing what we were seeing? Not to have that whole debate again, but what we're getting is confirmation in Ilya's retelling of the story. I'm looking for the right word. As he's retelling the story, you're seeing the same images. So the things we're seeing are at least reinforced that part did happen. So I think that's what's the benefit of the 1991 sequence specifically, is that he's retelling, like recounting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for the right word other than retelling. Retelling seems so sad. But he's going back and he's describing what happened to the woman sitting in the room.
Exactly. And I got to tell you, just for people that are, long timers, Ross, if you go back and listen to that episode, I personally was very clear that it's what you saw on screen that I believe was true. And we find out in this episode, you agree that what we saw was true, not necessarily what we heard, but what we saw. Because a lot of the, especially the second half of it, was Liz taking direction as opposed to Dom. But
Correct.
A lot of what we saw was true, or definitely appears to be true.
Yep, confirmed again by Ilya in this sequence.
Exactly. So
the hotel room, who was the one that came up with the plan, what they were actually saying to each other.
And
Dom
what happened after that, we didn't see.
Correct.
Under the knife, we couldn't tell. Those kinds of things. So, all right. So he's relieved. She's alive. We get several flashbacks. She made contact at the embassy. She was in trouble, needed help. Being hunted by the KGB, Cabal, Americans. Her father got us out of Russia, but she needed to disappear. There was the plan, the imposter. What we saw did happen. Becoming Reddington. But how? Quotes. But how? Devised a plan, but it didn't work. It didn't work. That was important. Rasviet didn't work. Who did it involve? Myself, Katarina, Dr. Kohler, and the person under the knife? What do you remember about him? Who was impersonating him? What do you think? What did you take from that? Now, that is the only part where, you can read it, of course, many, many different ways. One of which is that she is not remembering certain things. Like, she doesn't remember certain aspects, or she wasn't involved with that portion of it. Because remember, unreliable narrator, everybody's talked about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where are you with this particular section?
Take it two ways. And this scene is written very well. So kudos to Taylor and Sean Hennon. And I don't know if we said it before on the podcast, but congratulations to Taylor. Little Peanut gave birth. So kudos.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah. But she is sitting there, and the way, and this is the pronoun stuff that comes into play here, because she's not remembering it. It's like Ilya is telling the story to this woman, who we assume is Katarina at this point, and she's going, really? Ooh, tell me more. And so as you're watching it unfold, you can watch it with the lens of, this is absolutely Katarina Rostova, and of course she would remember this stuff, and oh yeah, that's how it happened. Oh yeah, that's right, I do remember that. Or it could be, this is not Katarina Rostova, and she's going, I didn't know that. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, go deeper there. And as it keeps going in, it was really, really just well written, because it could be taken two different ways depending on how you want to interpret it and where your theory camp currently sits.
That portion, yes.
And that's what I love about the show, because I think there was very much an intent of the idea behind her not being connected to him in the 1991 flashback, but her being connected to him in the Belgrade flashback.
And what did you take from that is what I'm asking.
Well, we're not there yet. You said don't talk about stuff until you read the paragraph.
All right, fair enough.
I was following orders.
Okay, so here, I very much took it the same way. So I would make that case that, yes, that portion I'm a little fuzzy on, and I wonder, in my mind, I can foresee a scenario where her memories were wiped. She's not clear on certain things. She doesn't know why certain things were done. And, we heard a version from Dom that wasn't necessarily the case, and it left out pertinent details as to how things got to where they were. So she didn't understand how everything went the way it went,
So what you're saying is through part one, the 1991 flashbacks.
That's the only part where I'm like, I don't know if she's who she says she is.
But you're still saying she is Katarina Rostova. She just might not remember certain things because of a memory alteration.
That's where I'm going right now, or because of the explosion, or there's a myriad of factors.
Okay.
Where she doesn't recall certain things because of the events that happened to her.
Right. And the only thing that made me go, I don't think she is Katarina Rostova, was when she's like, the plan. Tell me about the plan. I was like,
yes,
you're freaking there. What do you mean? What about the plan? Like, you should know the plan.
I do agree with that. Yeah. I'm with you on that part.
Okay.
So, Captain Pipe tries another approach to bring, reminded me of my grandpa just sitting there like, I haven't seen somebody smoke a pipe in a long time. That wasn't a sleuth. So to bring Katarina in to open the memory like a drawer. So back to the night Ilya and Dom decided her fate.
Her fate, pronoun.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, who else's fate would it? I don't understand why that's so important to you.
I'll explain in a minute.
Okay.
Keep going.
Cafe in Belgrade. Ilya, love, please. I know you were here with Dom. I need you to tell me what happened. Now, in that moment, that sounds like Katarina. Very much so. Ilya, love. She's spoken very much that she cared for this man, etc. Anything on that one before I move on?
Ilya love could be playing on our abilities to remember. Like, we've only seen Ilya and Katarina in the sense of that hotel room and their relationship in Rosviet. That's all we know about their relationship between Ilya and... But could be any other person that Ilya fell in love with after Katarina disappeared. Could be 10 years later. But we know that Belgrade takes place after the hotel room. That we know for sure.
Yeah, couldn't be 10 years later.
Hey, 5 years. Gabriel Mann looked a little bit older.
It wasn't my idea. Dom's idea. This is Ilya talking. Reddington didn't work. It didn't work. Reddington didn't work. It just angered the people. The Townsend directive. Neville Townsend. I'm worried they'll find Masha. This is what Dom is saying. I'm worried they'll find Masha. They're going to try to leverage her. You told her you'd look after Masha, and he will not stop looking if Katarina is dead. He asks, you want me to kill your daughter? He says, I want you to hear my plan, which of course we don't hear. She has to die. It's the only way to protect her. She'll listen to you. You can get to her. Implying, but not saying Katarina. That's an implication. It's definitely not said.
Yeah, as you listen to that particular sequence, it's like you want me to kill your daughter. That's not what he's saying. He's not saying I want to kill you, my daughter. He's saying that I want you to hear my plan. The plan could be, as you listen to the rest of this thing, you have to go find this other operative that we used to work with that is out of the game, bring her back in the game, and we're going to kill her, and we're going to make the KGB believe that this was Katarina Rostova, so they stop looking for Masha. Because Dom's plan wasn't necessarily to protect his daughter, it was to protect his granddaughter. Which is
exactly
really interesting when you think about it. Because he's already assuming his daughter's a lost cause. Or can't get in touch with his daughter because her daughter is long gone.
And here's what she says. You called me. It was a simple assignment. I was to meet Dominic and give him a package. You were here. You were there to what? Watch me die? He says, yes. I didn't know you had taken a new husband. He knew what my old life would cost me, but I couldn't let you down. He knew I was back in the game. He said you were done. You were out. Old friend asked me for a favor. I had to oblige.
Okay? Now, this sequence to me says that Ilya and this person that we assume is Katarina at the present day, like they did have some kind of a relationship at some point. They were either really closely working together in the system as the KGB agents. They were lovers at one point. When he says, I didn't know you had taken a new husband, could imply that maybe they were married at one point together and that they had maybe split up because of something that happened. I don't know. But there's a lot here that says that it could have been exactly how we saw the hotel room with Katarina and Ilya, or it could also mean a completely different person.
It could. And I want to add this. I find this important, okay? I feel like they've been playing with that possibility for this season. You know, maybe it's not Katarina because people don't, they know fans don't want it to be, or some fans don't want it to be, or don't think it is, whatever. And I want to say, as we get to this next portion, you very much, and I'm not even saying you shouldn't, you might should take the first half of this episode as they're leading you down a similar path which you're used to, which is it's going to be all mysterious and it's going to be vague, and then leading you into, all right, now we're getting a little more direct. Now we're nailing it down for the big reveal at the end when they meet each other and she says flat out, I'm your mom, right? So that is will you admit, since you have all you have to have a theory for every freaking line, will you at least admit that is a very direct possibility? But they're leading you down the path so that
the reveal sticks.
When the direct stuff hits, it sticks more.
If you assume it's direct. Correct. Absolutely.
Well, in this next part, there's a damn direct line. It's pretty damn direct. And it'd be hard to back out of, okay?
Sure.
So someone who I trusted, but this is who asked for a favor, someone who I trusted, but you weren't really my friend, were you? She's speaking to Ilya. And he says, so sorry, I never wanted to hurt you, but we didn't think we had a choice. And I do want to point out, we never saw the plan go to fruition. So, yes, she was walking toward her car. Would they have stopped her before she got to her car? Was it remote controlled? Was it something, where they were going to make it appear that she died, but she actually didn't die, and she just didn't know that was the plan? We don't know. For sure, it appears one way, but I will say, we don't know for sure. So I just want to leave that out there because we didn't see that happen. You weren't alone, though. The others, they were all there. This is what she's saying to Ilya. You weren't alone. The others, they were all there. Even Dom was there. And he says, Ilya, he leaked, he said, even Dom was there. He leaked that his daughter, that you, were staying at the inn and that you were carrying sensitive info. He leaked that his daughter, that you were staying at the inn and that you were carrying sensitive info. Katarina Rostova. He wanted to make a spectacle of my death. That is very pointed. That's very, very direct, that Ilya saying Dom leaked that you, his daughter, Katarina Rostova, was there.
And this is where I will disagree and say the comma makes it completely plausible to be a whole other way. He specifically
you can if you're, but how much of this is just reaching, man? I mean, at some point we got to look at it like, okay, either it's just being written so wildly vague that we can't take anything at face value, which, yes, a lot of the show we can't take at face value. I get that. But if you can't take anything at face value, it really kills enjoyment. So at some point, don't you have to acknowledge when something is direct that maybe it just was direct?
But but that's what the show's done to itself, is that you can't take anything that direct. When you put that,
I don't agree with you on that. I feel like so much of that is fan doing versus actual doing in the show.
It's very possible.
You and I have talked about that.
It's very possible, but I think the comma is very important here because you could say that Dom leaked that his daughter, who is Katarina Rostova, his daughter, you, changes the subject. It changes the whole predilection of the entire sentence. They're basically saying Dom leaked that Katarina Rostova was going to be at this inn, and you specifically were at that inn. So it's almost, the comma makes it potentially to be two people because of the lexical ambiguity of the show. Or it could be exactly what you said. It could be extra emphasis that you are Dom's daughter. But then you would just write the sentence as he leaked the information that you, his daughter, were going to be here.
See, that's the fan thing in there, right there. You can't even you can't even leave it as a possibility without also throwing in that, well, but why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do it this way? Why wouldn't you do it that way? There's two ways you could take it. Okay, you want to paint it that way. Then just leave it that way. Don't say, but then why wouldn't you should have written it this way. No, that's adding emphasis into your argument. Leave it vague. If you're going to say it's a possibility it can go both ways, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But to add that little, but why would you write it that way? That's just saying, I don't believe it.
I just say they wrote it that way to be specifically vague. So that this,
it's not a vague line. It's not a vague line. It's not a vague line. You can take it the way you mean it, and sure, there's a little bit there, but I also feel like that's pushing it. That to me is pushing it. That's pushing credibility.
But why would Dom want to kill his daughter? That's the thing.
He does say to protect Masha.
A granddaughter he's never seen versus a daughter that he loved and trained and brought up in the ways of the KGB.
Well, I'm not saying that we don't. I'm saying, once again, we don't know the plan.
Right.
So you can't say 100% that was exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to make it appear that she died. That's all he said. He specifically said, I want you to hear my plan. He never specifically said, I definitely want to kill my daughter. That was never said. So that's an assumption.
Right. Because Ilya was doing the Liz thing in that regard. He's basically, you want me to kill her. It's like, no, that's not what I said. I said something else.
Exactly. True.
Yep.
True. All right. So we will will lose.
So you're saying that you're saying that the comma makes it definitive that it is Katarina, his daughter, and I'm saying that the comma makes it so that it could be two people.
I'm not saying definitively anything until next week.
Okay.
Just because, I know how this show can go, and we'll see.
But for the Twitter fodder, you're definitely on that emphasizes one direction.
In my mind, in my opinion, this isn't really my mind.
Right.
In my opinion, to write it, they already write vague enough for much of this show. To intentionally, I wouldn't like that as a play. Put it that way. I would find that kind of insulting if it were the way you were saying.
Gotcha.
Could it read that way? Sure. As a fan, I would not appreciate it.
All right.
I just feel like that's not playing fair. I just don't think that's playing fair because you didn't have to throw that in there.
As a fan, I totally appreciate it because both answers would be great, no matter how it goes, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, both answers absolutely could be great. I mean, it could be that way, but you've got a lot of stuff. I mean, sure, unless if they played with her memories and made her think that she's her mom, and oh my God, that's teetering on soap opera territory.
That's stuff I do not like as a fan.
That's soap opera territory. I don't like that. I just don't. All right, so hubby was dumb, got blown up in the car. Saw that coming about a mile away. I'm sure everybody did.
Yeah, always wear shoes when you go outside, people. PSA for this week.
He died. I loved him, and he died. The KGB were going to kill you right then and there, but then everything went wrong.
Yeah, the lady comes out screaming, help her, help her, help her. And then the KGB has to back off, and now everybody knows that Katarina's still alive. Yeah,
but let's point this out. I like this line. This I actually liked a lot. The KGB were going to kill you right then and there, but then everything went wrong. Like, they wanted... That is more direct as to we wanted you to get killed than previously.
Correct.
So that was an interesting line.
They wanted you, woman in this chair right now, to be killed so that people would think that Katarina Rostova was dead so that Masha would be safe.
Sure sounds like your mind's made up.
I don't know. I'm just saying that this opened up a lot more of the possibility of this is a hired woman to take the place of Katarina Rostova theory concept. To me.
I definitely think it's in there. Not the way that you think it, but I definitely think it's a possibility. Just not the way that you think it.
Correct.
At all. Not even a little bit.
I'm feeling the subtle tones of your statement there. I am. I'm feeling
it coming through.
Oh yeah.
Just making sure. All right. Let's see. I did not know about the husband. They were supposed to see Katarina Rostova die, and instead we put Masha in more danger. We should tell him. Oh, we're not telling him anything. Reddington deserves to know.
But that plan didn't work. So what's the issue with Reddington? Reddington now being the person that went under the knife and became Reddington, that did get the money out of the bank, but
it didn't work. That plan didn't work.
The plan didn't work. It just made people more irritated that why is Reddington not dead? Like people like Fitch. She says, I want him gone by Christmas Eve, and then damn, he's still alive. What the hell?
And this is where it gets really interesting. I can't show my face, use my name, hunted like an animal. Reddington, whoever he is, he's still out there, a benefactor to all this. Answer me why. That's probably my biggest. Like, maybe she doesn't know everything. Maybe she does have, doesn't remember stuff or isn't. Yes, that's the only part where I'm like, maybe she's not Katarina Rostova. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not a possibility. I mean, next week I'll have a more definitive opinion, I suppose, but I'm not leaning against it because I just feel like they've already teased this in the show. They've said mom and dad are going to come together, and there's going to. Not mom and dad, sorry. Jeez. Somebody just got mad. They said mom and Liz are going to come together, and then it's going to be an issue of Liz picking sides, which it seems now closer to a reality.
Yeah.
Because they did tease that before the season started. And that's something I would be more interested in. This back and forth on the
identity stuff has to be finished.
Yes, I'm just tired of it, man. I really am. Like, it's not, I don't find it as fun anymore. And I still find the show fun. I don't mean that to say, like, I would seriously just watch a Blacklister every week. I really would. I really enjoy that.
Like, end the mythology, finish it up, and then just go procedural going forward.
Or just make it the mythology less. We don't need it in every episode. I don't, anyway. Maybe some other fans do, but I don't. I like Case of the Week stuff, but that's just me. There's so much TV anymore, so. All right.
You like those whodunits.
I do love a whodunit, man. Love a whodunit. Ooh. All right. And any other theories on this? Because she obviously doesn't know who Reddington is, or at least doesn't remember that.
Right. And I think this is a very big line, because this is way a fan could say, well, she's saying, what does Reddington get out of it? Because I am Katarina Rostova. Or I can't say who I really am and use my own real name because I've been hunted like an animal because of all this crap. And Reddington still gets to live the luxury that I was supposed to have or could have had, and just feeling scorned by it. So again, I love the writing this week, just to give so many options to throw back on the table, because it just makes the anticipation for the finale next week that much more exciting.
I like to call this episode Exposition.
Oh, there was a ton of it.
It was just like unpack, because next week I assume is going to be like, I feel like this is almost a two-parter.
It's the first time I got exposition in the dark too. It was awesome.
Lord. So anything more on Liz and, or not Liz, but Katarina and Ilya and their situation? Anything more you took from that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I just think that it was very, to me, having the 1991 stuff done with her not connected to Ilya, and then having the Belgrade stuff with her connected to Ilya, really, to me, drives home the point that the Belgrade stuff is revolving around this particular woman that we see in the current season, but maybe she wasn't the Katarina we saw in the hotel in 1991. Or like you were saying, her memories were tampered with.
Or concussed.
Yeah.
Maybe she remembers
trauma from the drowning because she was in the water too long. I don't know.
Maybe just that night. Maybe she remembers that night. She doesn't remember anything before. Certain things before. I don't know. Or she's, not who she said she is or not who she thinks she is. But then you're teetering on soap opera.
But all of this stuff,
that's the way it goes.
All of this stuff is precedented in the show. This is all Constantine, season 3, season 4.
Not disputing it.
Yeah.
I didn't argue that. Except for that one line that I was very, very matter of fact about. Everything else I'm not disputing.
Would that be considered the Oxford comma in that case, or is it a different kind of comma?
I've accepted the Oxford comma. I don't care about the Oxford comma. It's one of those things. Half the time I use it, half the time I don't. Neither of the times do I care.
All right.
I just don't think it matters. It really doesn't.
It clearly matters this time around.
Oh my God! It wasn't an Oxford comma.
It wasn't an Oxford. Okay.
Yeah. No, you know what an Oxford comma is, right? It's a separation of parts. It's like, I want the thing, and the thing, and you put a comma in each one of those.
Yeah.
That's an Oxford comma.
Okay. I just thought there was two things, right? So it worked the same way. The daughter.
This was a regular old comma. A stale-ass comma. There's some grammar police somewhere, punctuation police is just sitting there going, that's not what it is. So. All right, Liz. She's profiling again. We said that last week. We're saying it again because she finally did follow the trail and find out the Russian mob tried to get Agnes. No, they didn't. They tried to get
your name,
Madeline. Yeah, Madeline. Oh, I did want to say Madeline. The name Madeline. When she snickered when she found out her name was Madeline. Madeline is from a book, and in the book, it's basically what is it? It's set in a Catholic boarding school in Paris, if I remember right. And it's about a little girl who's like 7 years old and only a redhead. She's a very brave, very daring girl.
A redhead. Interesting.
Just so you know.
It's not in the show, though, so I can't use it.
She said it.
She did say, yeah. Madeline liked the children's book.
Yeah. And she was very happy with that. Maybe because it reminded her of her
redheaded former life.
Yeah. Okay. So Liz, she joins Red for the little date. We talked about that. And I bet Livingston fans were pretty happy with that because it reminded them of old times.
Yep. The auction scene and the date scene in episode 2. I think it was.
Way back in the day. And they play a little game of what's in my mouth again. And then she also learns the mob is after someone. She thinks it's Agnes. Well, she comes to find out it's not Agnes. Because once they got the Orion Relocation Services files, she sees, the lady she had a gut feeling was her mom.
So explain to me how we're going to go through 700 plus files And Red's not going to tell anybody what the person looks like.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
That was the weirdest scene this week. That's what I was just like.
He was looking for that. They were just looking through, Cooper said, be sure to go through these and we're going to find out if these people knew, other people were killed. That's what Cooper said that. So
my friend, my lover, my brother, my whatever I want to call him this week is in danger. And I'm not going to say, hey, I'm looking for this person. If anybody finds this person, let me know. But just don't show it to Liz.
Please don't. Thankfully, she's the one that found it. She gets back there.
That was badass, too, the way she was like, nope, I just got to go. I got to go right now.
No, I love that. That was a great moment. Yeah, we should have mentioned that. That was a great moment where Liz she did exactly what she should have done. She left right out of it. She's not going to let him get there first. She's going to get there because she's going to get some answers this time. Loved that.
And the line she threw back at him, it was almost a line that he would have said, and I think that piqued his interest. So I'm hoping when we open up the episode next week, Red comes busting through the door because he picked up on what Liz was throwing down at that moment.
Maybe. We'll see. So this is another badass moment. This reminded me of Ruin Liz. She comes in very calm, very, very nonchalant, says, hey, I'm going to go check on Agnes real quick. She's like, cool. It goes in, checks, make sure she's okay before she does anything. Smart. Make sure the kid can't be a pawn at that point. Come back in. Puts a silencer on her gun. That says murder to me.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That was a nice little touch. That wasn't, I'm FBI, going to bring you in. That was, if I had plastic, you might end up on the floor.
Yep. I think it's great because everybody was like, oh, Liz, wiffle waffle. Liz, cries at Red. Liz doesn't do the thing. Liz doesn't ask the questions. This was badass. And I loved it. I loved it.
It was great. And it showed the Liz we've come to know, I think. So she puts the gun on her mom and is holding it against her mother, Katarina Rostova. Maddie Tolliver was a sweet, unassuming woman. She wouldn't hurt a fly, but Katarina Rostova would. And that's when this woman's ears perked up. Natural born killer of enemies, friends, family. Everyone I've ever cared about was hurt by you. And a part of me knew who you were.
Sure you did, Liz.
Well, we did say that before. I wonder if it seems like she's playing it like she almost knows this is her mom. And then we kind of got away from that. Maybe that was the case. Maybe she was playing it intentionally that way. Oh,
we forgot about the best line of the episode, though.
What's that?
It was like, was somebody hurting you? Did someone get it? I thought you had FBI watching your house.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, finally, someone addresses it in the show. That's awesome.
So you were threatened. You shot your father, put your granddaughter in harm's way. Give me one good reason I shouldn't end this right now. And the response is, you already know the reason, Masha. I'm your mother.
Just like Constantine said, I'm your father. She's a trained liar. Or she is her mother. Who knows? We'll have to find out next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Give me your gut. What do you say?
My gut.
You got to give me. You can't give me that. Well, on this hand it could be this, and on this hand you got to tell me, what do you think? Is she your mother?
My gut, because of the whole splitting up of the memory sequence things, was very deliberate. I'm saying not the mama.
Not the mama. So you're going with this whole designation thing.
Doppelganger, Katarina, doppelganger.
Not a twin, though, right?
Not a twin. No. Just somebody that Dom knew, that Ilya knew, that was in the service together. They asked her to do a favor because she would do a favor for Ilya because they were close. And it was basically Dom hiring this person to take the fall so that way Katarina and Masha would be protected going forward because Katarina would, quote unquote, be dead.
Okay, well, just because I'm going to go with that common line, which I say is direct, I'm going to go with it is her mother.
All right.
We're going to have a whole alias situation is the way I'm looking at it. Alias plus.
Alias plus.
But we will find out next week.
What was wrong with the red one?
I hope we find out next week. What's that?
No,
What did you say?
That's my favorite line from this. What was wrong with the red one? So good.
Should be good. I wonder what Taco Tuesday was like.
Oh my gosh. I think this is one of the better episodes of the season. I would put this probably as the top episode of the season thus far.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my favorite. There was one, the one a couple weeks back, I think was more my speed, but it was good. It was good. You just love it because it's mythology heavy. I just love it because it moves the story forward. The mythology story. See, I don't need the mythology. So to me, I'm fine without it. I like Blacklist or the Week episodes more. I love Blacklist or the Week episodes. I just want the mythology to be done so I don't have to talk about the mythology anymore. And I can just talk about man, did you see that stuff? That's crazy. I can't believe that actually happens in real life. Like Golden Blood and people killing people to move people to other places. Well, you never know. You might get your wish. Maybe. We've got more. Don't quit yet. So we want to take a second and say thank you to those of you that are supporting the show by going to Patreon. That's patreon.com, The Blacklist GSM. That's patreon.com/The Blacklist GSM, or as we like to call it, The Blacklist Exposed Plus. Special big thanks to our honorary blacklisters, Doug and Patricia, as well as our task force members, Lacey, Marilyn, Judy, and Sharon. All those people receive some pretty cool gifts from us, and you can get a cool gift as well if you want to donate at the $20 or higher level. Plus, if just 10 people pull the trigger at that $20 level, we will reach our goal and be doing the podcast live for you to watch us bicker and fight in 4K. And next week, we might have an answer on who's right, Troy or me. Troy or me. Team Troy, Team Aaron. I say mom, he says no mom. Team mom, team no mom. No mas. No mas, that's what we're going to do? Okay. I don't know. Team mom or team no mas? No, not Hashtag the mama. It. Not the mama. Could get my dinosaur theme out. And if $20 is too steep, our $5 level gets you early access to all our special episodes and interviews before anyone else. We do have the special interview Aaron conducted with John on the movie Taking Lives. It's now posted, all for $5 and up patrons. So be sure to check that out and enjoy that along with this week's show. It's patreon.com/The Blacklist GSM. Click on the $sign in your podcast app, the link in the show notes, to fill the fedora and get some awesome rewards for yourself. Stay tuned. Much more show coming up right after this.
Are you sick of the endless, poorly realized remakes as we are? Then take a listen to Remake This Movie Right, where we take a classic movie, figure out what works and what doesn't, throw a dash of humor at it, and then we craft our own remake. So by the end of every episode, we will remake this movie right. Recently featured as a podcast to listen to by the AV Club, you can find us at RemakeThisMovieRight.com or your podcast app of choice. Every movie you love will get a remake someday, and only you can make it better.
Hi, it's Megan Boone, and you're listening to Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
Welcome to Red's Rhetoric, that part of the show where we feature 2 of Red's scenes from the show this week, and you get to vote which is your favorite over on the website. Just look for the Orion Relocation Services post on the website. All right, first clip this week comes when Red talks about fine dining.
I think dining in the dark probably does enhance the senses.
Is annoyance a sense?
For the next dish, brandy wine tomatoes with Dungeness crab and a seaweed lemon granité.
A Chateau de Cam. My uvula is positively quivering.
And after this, the pièce de résistance, the winged veal of the Russian Far East, served extra rare. That is the sound of the Blackiston fish owl, the largest, most exotic, and endangered of the owl species.
Endangered.
Let us know if you would prefer a slice of the wing, breast, or all-seeing eye.
Nobody touches the bird. What's wrong with you people? There are only 400 of these little guys left in the world, and you're going to eat this one? You want to eat something? Eat a cow. There are millions of them wandering around. Better yet, eat a rabbit. They're delicious. Low impact on the environment, sustainable. I mean, hell, they hump like rabbits.
And the second clip comes when Red makes a deal with Liz.
We have the Orion files in the war room.
And yet, you're here.
We have the files, but you know who we're looking for. We can't find her without you. And with Bissette dead and the files in our possession, you can't find her without us. Are you keeping the owl?
Oh, God, no. I'm terrified of the thing. Oh, her eyes. Hypnotizing. But not to worry. We've contacted a licensed falconer to help return the lovely lady to her home range, wherever that is.
Come to the war room. We'll go through the files together, you ID her, and we'll save your friend.
Dembe, you heard her. To the war room. Perhaps we'll be greeted by the Praetorian Guard. The war room. What a marvel of overstatement. Unless we're in a war I'm unaware of. My gosh, that would be marvelous.
Which was your favorite? If you enjoy exquisite but not endangered tastes, vote #RedOwl. Or if you are ready for the fight, vote #RedWar.
All right, now it's time for Special Agent Intel, and I want to reiterate, Team Mom or Team No Mas?
Not the mama.
I'm curious. Jan and Raleigh on Reddit asks, what is it with Birdie and Katarina? He is always at the apartment. He does not act like an underling. Very free with his opinions. Does not like children, especially Agnes. Definitely her muscle/enforcer and took the lead in the FBI scam nanny scare. He's been with her long enough to show up with an alias and a tracking clue. Lover, brother, handler? What's your best guess?
And this is one storyline that they've kind of dropped thus far.
What's that?
They had the whole convenient wedding where Aram gets the piece of intel that actually has Birdie's name on the piece of paper, and nobody since then has actually investigated Birdie, because Birdie's the guy who's sitting literally right next to Katarina in the apartment. So why haven't we investigated the Birdie angle since we have that piece of intel?
My best guess is he is the Dembe to her Red.
Which answers Jan's question, but it doesn't answer my question.
I can't help you. You have 1,000 questions for every other question, so I'm just going to answer this one. I think it's her Dembe.
Why didn't Aram do anything else with that intel in 4 episodes? That's my question to the
Which
writers.
intel?
He got the intel at the wedding that said, "Hey, you're looking for this guy. His name is Birdie." Like, he's looking for Birdie. He's got the in to find Katarina, and Aram has done 0 with that intel since he got it.
I was totally ignoring you because I was just thinking about Jan's question, but yeah, you're right.
So,
they also haven't gone back to the old, roller derby wife.
That's true.
Roller derby's wife. That's mean.
See, we're pulling for you, Amir. It's like, there's more content. Bring it out.
Yeah. I mean, they can't. Yeah, it's been a couple episodes.
Fair. They might be holding it, right? Let's say they find
next week
Katarina Rostova next week, and maybe Birdie is the next big bad in the back half of the year.
I don't want that. I don't think he's cool enough for that at this point.
I know he calls people names, and he's really pissed off that someone took his doll.
All right, what else we got?
Dark Horse over on Reddit also said, what if we have been looking at this the wrong way around? Blonde Cat might be the original Katarina Rostova, notorious KGB agent, and went to retire in Belgrade to start a new life, while our Katarina, Masha's mother, took the identity over and made some bad decisions, screwing up the mission and the events from Rosviet to occur. KGB come for both women, the Townsend Directive, and the charade begins, but Blonde Cat's life gets blown up. She wants revenge and her head off the chopping block. We already talked about the whole, determine her fate. You want me to kill your daughter, but I want you to hear my plan. She has to die. She being the Blonde Cat. And the target, she was there. She was supposed to be there. Dom leaked that his daughter, that you were staying at the end, that whole comma issue. So what do you think? Could these be 2 different women?
Well, yeah, I think I've already acknowledged that they could be.
Yeah.
The only thing I really, it's always vague, so it's hard with this show because it's hard to cement an opinion anymore until they actually say something clearly. And no, I don't live in the world where only Red can say something and it becomes fact. I'm sorry. I just don't live. I don't want to watch a show where only Red can say facts.
And Red can only say facts to Liz if you still believe that Red never lies to Liz.
I know, but some people say unless, and everybody's entitled to however they want to look at it. But some people say if Red doesn't say it to Liz, it doesn't count as actual canon. That's always the out.
That's a little strong.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah,
legitimately, I hear that a lot. And I just am not going to subscribe to that because if I can't trust Cooper, wrestler, to give me facts, then it becomes a show that becomes very hard to really invest in. Yeah, it just feels like that's that leaves everything pretty open,
like the wing of an owl.
Exactly.
I think the only thing Dark Horse maybe got wrong here was the fact that he said that Blonde Cat was the original Katarina. I think it's the other way around. I do think Katarina Rostova, Dom's daughter, was the original, and that this blonde Katarina was hired to, or not hired, but inadvertently placed in a way. Because the one thing that still sticks with me that was really gnawing at me after this episode was the end of season 6 was the first time we learned about the Townsend Directive. And Dembe's all pissed off at Red. He's going to go on his own journey. He's not going back. The guy kills people. And then for some reason, out of the blue, out of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, just happens to come in to save Red's life because the Townsend Directive has been activated. So why would Dembe come back to Red if he's not happy with him, unless something about protecting Raymond has to do with the Townsend Directive? That's the one thing that's still kind of gnawing at me.
Well, if anybody's going to be gnawed at by that, it'd be you.
It would. Maybe a few others, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. So one thing that really I did find super interesting that I didn't talk about earlier, but I should have mentioned because I definitely want to mention it before we're done, right?
It's called leaving them in suspense. I'm literally on the edge of my seat now going like, ooh, what's he got? What's he got?
This part, I can't show my face, use my name, hunted like an animal, Reddington, whoever he is, he's still out there, a benefactor to all this. Answer me why. Whoever he is, right? That's what people are going to be stuck on. Right. And she's going to, I get it, totally. The season finale, she kisses him like she knows him. The first 2 episodes, 100% like they know each other. And they're very familiar. They have a long history.
Seems that way.
So I don't understand that unless it's possible. I do see what you're saying. It is possible. Like this woman was brought in to be Katarina to conceal her and keep her hidden. That's sure. It's a possibility. Very much those first 2 episodes, they have a relationship. They know each other. So that makes this line weird, or I just don't understand it yet. You know what I mean? So it's just something I just want to point it out. Or
if you go back to,
because that wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter who the hell she is. That line doesn't make any sense in that context, because whoever he is, he's still out there, benefactor. Answer me why. Well, you seem to know him very well,
or
you seem very familiar,
or they have to play the game, right? Because there's other people around. So in order to keep the facade and the charade going, that they have to make it look like they know each other and say certain things and act a certain way. Kind of like Red can tell Alexander Kirk, like, she's my daughter, because he's playing as Raymond Reddington in that moment.
And she knows he's not the real Raymond Reddington. Sure, yeah, probably, I guess it's possible. It just feels that, once again, that feels like a stretch. And at some point, you're stretching so much, it's just silly putty, Yeah,
it's a mechanism of the show that could work for the show, but it could also be a detriment to the show, because you go to like, oh no, we didn't say that, because in that moment he was answering as Raymond Reddington. No, in that moment he was answering as Red. Well, how am I supposed to know as the fan, the viewer? I think you get into trouble sometimes when you play that card too many times.
Yeah, well, that's why we've talked about this 1,000 times. I feel like a lot of times, we do that more than they do.
We sure do.
Like, they means, you go back, and I've rewatched so much of this show, you go back and rewatch it. There's so much that's just meant to be taken the way it's delivered. It really is, and we just don't take it that way. We just go back and forth and hem and haw and debate, but which is fun. That's fun as fans to do. But ultimately, it ends up being pretty straightforward.
I mean,
we just don't want to accept it.
Keeps the show on the air for 7 years because we keep talking about it, right?
There you go.
All
right. Well, I think that's going to do it. I don't really have anything. I'm just excited to get to the next week, really, at this point.
Yeah, next week's going to be so good. I hope. Sorry. You know what? Next week's going to be awful. It's going to be terrible. Don't even watch next week. There you go.
What are you talking about?
Well, because apparently when I hype things up like Kuwait, it ends up not being as awesome as it was. So I'm just going to tell you that the show sucks. Don't watch it, and it'll be awesome.
Once again, I like Kuwait. You just had all these expectations in your head, man. You built it up for like X years, and you still haven't let it go.
I built up this whole season, I think, over the summer, and it's paying off right now.
Okay, well then you're happy
so far. Yeah, we'll see what next week brings.
I'm going to see Knives Out again. How about you?
I love
the
Knives
third
Out.
time.
I'd go watch it again.
The third time. It'll be the third time, and I'm still going to.
They should have had different endings so that you could have gone to multiple theaters and see different endings.
Oh, I'm going to go home and sleep with my
wife.
All right, well, that's going to conclude this episode. 6 seasons are on Netflix, and now is the time to recommend The Blacklist to your friend, your enemy, your frenemy, or your neighbor. And when you do, please also recommend that they listen and subscribe to the Blacklist Exposed podcast. All the case profiles can be found at theblacklisexposed.com, and everywhere great and mediocre and semi-average podcasts can be found.
Your buddy, your friend, your brother, Frank. For more great Aaron and Troy hijinks, follow us on your favorite social media outlet. I'm at Troy Heinrichs. He's at Aaron Smirks. And together we are at The Blacklist GSM. Talk about the show, the podcast, or your favorite type of tobacco.
Now I keep thinking of all that in my real life. How many times do I actually call when I'm talking about people, do I mention them by name? Oh, yeah, all of them. All right, big thanks for listening. Don't forget to answer our profiling question. Should Liz hear Katarina out? Does she deserve to be heard?
Why not?
Well, she's a villain. Supposedly. She might not even be Katarina, according to you.
Does she make
Although
coffee?
she flat out said, I am your mother, Masha. So, I don't know.
Yeah, Constantine said, I'm your father, too. Liar! Liar!
He thought he was, though.
He thought he was.
So she thought she was her mother?
I think she would know. Kind of hard to fake that one.
Yeah, that one, it's not really a Maury Povich deal. You know, I don't need a blood test for that one.
All right. The big one next week. Stay tuned. We'll tell you what
stoked.
number she is in just a bit.
You'll probably be right.
See ya. Until next time, I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs. That's at Troy Heinrichs on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me, just visit, about.me/Troy Heinrichs.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. You can hear me talking about movies and TV on the Hollywood Outsider podcast, as well as Remake This Movie Right. We are available at thehollywoodoutsider.com or on Twitter at 5popcorn. Be sure to subscribe, download the app, submit your feedback, but most importantly, keep yourself off of
The Blacklist.
The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production. Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.
Okay, Troy. What's the number?
210.
No, it's not. Katarina Rostova, what number is she on the blacklist? Tell me!
You really want to know?
Echoed. Well, I literally have asked you like 8 times throughout this show. Yes, I want to know.
She's higher than Tom.
Just give me the number.
Higher than Kaplan.
What number was Tom?
Tom was 7. Remember 007?
Oh, that's right. He should have been 200. Got it. Yeah.
Higher than Kaplan.
Okay.
Who's number 4.
Okay.
Katarina's number 3.
3, huh?
3. There are still 2 more bigger names.
Well, I think Raymond Reddington will be number 1, right?
I think Townsend might be number 1 or number 2.
No, that just came up. That can't be number 1 or number 2, can it?
He's the one that's looking to kill her. Ultimately, unless he's dead now.
One is Raymond Reddington, and 2 is probably Liz. Maybe Liz is 1. That'd be cool.
Liz is 1.
That would be pretty cool.
Maybe Dom is 2.
Yeah, Dom's not on the blacklist yet, right?
Right.
Possible. 3's pretty high, though. 3 is significant.
Yeah. Either way, what does an owl with an attitude have?
What?
A scowl.
All right, we're done. Bye.
What do you call an owl with a low voice?
I don't know.
A growl.
Bye. Is this thing on? Howallador? Owallador? I'm done.
They came up with a new breed of owl. Did you know that?
My God, it's like a wind-up toy.
It's magical.
What? It's a wind-up Troy.
It's a Houdini.
Bye. Can we end? How do I end this freaking podcast? I want to go.
Oh, wait, they just discovered a new species.
Oh. Please tell.
It's a boxing owl. It's called the Muhammad Ali.
I wish that Acme safe would just fall on my head.
You know an owl's favorite subject at school?
Hoostery?
No, algebra. Okay, see you guys later.
Bye.